Budgeting gets such a bad reputation, you know? People think it's all restrictions, no fun, no freedom.
Right? Like the money police have shown up to kill the vibe.
Exactly. But here's the thing. It's the opposite. Budgeting, when done right, gives you control. It's about planning, not punishing.
Control, huh? That sounds way better already.
It really is. Here's where it starts. You gotta track your actual income and expenses. No guessing games. You need the real numbers to see where your money's going.
Okay, but let's say someone's like, ugh, that sounds boring. Why bother tracking?
Fair question. Let me share a story. There was this family I worked with. 2 parents, 3 kids, middle income, and they felt like they were drowning. They'd get to the end of the month and think, where did it all go? Sound familiar?
Oh yeah, been there for sure.
So, the first step we took was spending 2 months tracking every dollar. Every single one, from the bills to the Friday night pizzas. Turns out, $100 a month was disappearing into vending machines and random convenience store snacks. The little stuff adds up.
Wait, 100 on snacks? That could be like an extra utility bill.
Exactly. But the transformation wasn't just in what they learned, it was in the plan they built after. Once they saw where their money was really going, they started making small, intentional shifts. They were spending the same money, but now they were steering the ship, not just reacting to the waves.
That's incredible. So budgeting isn't just about cutting stuff, it's about saying yes, but on purpose.
You nailed it. You say yes deliberately to the things that matter to you, and you ditch the, wait, what happened moments. So, we've talked about how budgeting puts you in control and lets you spend intentionally. Now, let's dive into how to make it happen. There's no one-size-fits-all approach, but 2 big methods stood out in our research. The zero-based budget, and what I like to call the personal P approach.
Okay, so zero-based budgeting. That's the one where every dollar has to go somewhere, right? Like no dollar left lounging around aimlessly.
Exactly. Your income minus your expenses equals 0, but here's the thing. 0 doesn't mean broke. It just means every single dollar has a job. Bills, savings, debt repayment, even a fun money category. It's a really structured system.
Oh yeah, jobs for dollars. Like little green employees, clock in $1.12, you're paying the electric bill today.
Ha ha ha, that's one way to look at it. The point is, there's no mystery. You're not sitting there at the end of the month wondering where the money went. You planned for it. Now, compare that to the personal P approach. That's a bit looser. You look at your income as revenue and your expenses as costs. The goal is, essentially, to keep turning a profit that you can channel towards savings or debt.
Whoa, like running your own mini business? I see how that might click for a lot of people, especially the spreadsheet folks. I'm guessing this is where the 50-30-20 rule shows up?
That's right. It's a guide, 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings or debt repayment. The percentages are flexible, but it's all about prioritization. And this ties directly into the 4 walls concept.
Oh, I know this. Food, shelter, utilities, and transportation. Like the absolute basics you protect at all costs.
Exactly. Before you think about vacations or eating out, you make sure those walls are solid. If you can cover those, you're in decent shape. The budget builds out from there, starting with essentials and moving towards giving, saving, and extras.
Okay, but I gotta ask, how do you make all this work when life's already chaotic? Apps, spreadsheets, good vibes?
Good vibes are a nice start, but tools and systems help a lot more. What worked for you, Olivia?
For me, it was apps all the way. My job's super busy, so automating was a lifesaver. I set up budgeting categories, linked my accounts, and boom, instant insights. Plus, the notifications were like little alarms keeping me in line.
That's a great way to stay consistent. Whether it's an app, a spreadsheet, or even old school cash envelopes, the key is finding what fits your lifestyle. So, now that we've nailed down the basics of budgeting and how to make it work with tools like apps or spreadsheets, let's tackle what's next. Paying off debt and staying ready for those unexpected financial challenges life throws at you.
Debt and curveballs. Sounds like the title of my autobiography.
Haha. Well, let's give you a better ending for that story. When it comes to debt, the sources were pretty clear. Attack it like you mean it. Once you've got the 4 walls handled and maybe a small emergency fund stashed away, it's time to go full focus on paying down debt.
Okay, so what's the strategy here? Do we just throw whatever we can at it, or is there a system?
Definitely a system. Remember, budgeting is about being intentional. There are two main strategies folks use for tackling debt: the snowball method and the avalanche method. The snowball focuses on paying off your smallest debts first to build momentum and confidence. The avalanche goes after the highest interest debts first to save the most money in the long run.
Both sound like legit options. I gotta say, knocking out a smaller debt first sounds like a morale booster.
It really can be. One entrepreneur I worked with was sitting on a mountain of credit card debt, about 5 cards, each with a different balance. They went with the snowball method, and within 6 months, they had knocked out 2 small balances completely. That progress lit a fire under them, and they stayed motivated to keep going until every card was paid off.
Wait, 6 months for 2 cards? And I'm over here avoiding a single call to customer service. That's inspiring.
It is. But here's the thing. They didn't just free up money by paying down debt. They also got ahead of those unexpected expenses that pop up and wreck your budget.
You mean car repairs and holiday shopping?
Exactly. And this is where sinking funds come in. The idea is simple. You set aside a little bit every month for irregular expenses like car repairs, insurance premiums, or even Christmas gifts. By the time the expense hits, the money's there waiting. No stress, no scrambling.
Okay, but how do you keep it all organized? I mean, I can barely keep track of my Netflix passwords.
Great question. Some people use separate accounts for each sinking fund. Others just keep a spreadsheet or a good old-fashioned notebook with their categories. For example, $20 a month into the car repair pot, $50 for holidays, maybe $100 for that yearly insurance payment. Decide what you need to save for and start small if you have to. Small amounts add up over time.
Love it. So sinking funds are kind of like budgeting's secret weapon. No big surprises, just preparation.
Exactly. And that preparation extends to the long-term stuff, like building your main emergency fund. Remember, the goal is about 6 months of essential living costs.
Yeah, that's a big number, but even getting started with 1 month could make a huge difference.
Totally. Start where you can and build on it. The important thing is to begin. And once you see those small wins, whether it's paying off a credit card or covering an expense from a sinking fund, it transforms how you feel about your money. It's empowering.
Empowering, for sure. Okay, Brian, what's the one thing you want the listeners to take away from this?
Start. Just start. Don't wait for perfection. It's a process, and every little step counts. Budgeting isn't about restriction. It's about freedom. Take that first step, and you're already ahead of the game.
Love it. And with that, I think it's time we wrap this up. What do you think?
Couldn't agree more. And hey, if you're listening, just try one thing this week. Give $1 a job or track one spending category. See where it takes you. Thanks for spending your time with us today.
Yeah, we're rooting for you. Until next time, take care.